Good evening. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and Ann for reaching out and asking for us to do this. My name is Chris Nelson. I represent District 4. District 4 is the village of Balsam Lake, the village of Milltown, and the township of Milltown Township. One of the questions was, what motivates you to run for county board? I really think it's my family that makes me feel motivated when I look at my children, raising them here. I'm a grandpa now. I have a number of grandchildren from all ages. And I really think about their future and what impact I can have on the community with them and what we're going to leave behind to our kids. So that basically motivates me. Your next question was, what do you see as the most important issues facing the county board? So I think funding and the fiscal responsibility is a very important issue. You know, we have to have the money to pay for all the bills, and we have to be able to fund our police department, our health department. We have zoning departments. We have a court system. We have a big budget. It's about $60 million a year. It's actually bigger than that. So it's a very important issue. Some of the other areas is making the correct investments into Polk County is a big job of Polk County supervisors by setting policy. And how we invest today is what happens in the future. And being on the county board now for 6 years, I've seen where we've had to clean up some messes from previous boards and where we have to get our house in order, so to speak. We have a great fund balance now by saving. We have a good debt process now to where we're not putting the county in debt, and we've saved a lot of money so we can invest in some really good things. And some of the important issues, to get back to that, I believe one of the most important issues right now with the world we live in is supporting our law enforcement and our sheriff's department. The other issue would be infrastructure is another big funding issue for our county with our roads, our trails, and our parks. Another big issue, and this ties back into the funding of the sheriffs and the court system, is that the meth epidemic is a very big issue here in Polk County that we have to get a handle on, and we are doing that now. Poverty, I believe, is another big issue in Polk County. We talk about workforce housing. We talk about all these things in the county, but when we have the level of poverty we do have in Polk County in the rural areas, it's kind of what costs us the most money to deal with when poverty affects young children and when they get older, and the crime. One of the other big issues that we're dealing with right now at the end of this term is the development issues. Polk County, what I hear all the time is, boy, I love Polk County. I love what's here in Polk County. I want to move to Polk County. And then when these people move here or businesses move here, we see the pressure at the board is like, oh, we need to change Polk County. And one of them is in development and having responsible development, because we are not too far away from being a suburb. And we are working on some very important issues through our land use and our zoning to have responsible development and not to let this new trend of moving to rural counties completely change that. And the next question you guys have is, where do you stand on these issues, right? So I can tell you probably can tell by my interview or my comments where I stand. I'm for good responsibility. I'm for good land use practices. I feel like the meth issue is, to me, really a strong issue for me to see what's happening to our young children and some of our families that turn to some of these drugs that are so available and the devastation it has on our communities and our families and our budgets at the county, our health department, our law enforcement. We spend millions of dollars a year dealing with this epidemic here in our county. I think it's super important. On the zoning issue, we're currently passing some new zoning regulations for backlot development around our lakes. We're also working on the condominium and the PUDs that kind of ring the Twin Cities communities, and we're trying to get a handle on that too, that if we have growth, the growth should be in municipalities and the cities, and trying to keep the integrity of the townships and the rural character of the county is really important to me. The investment issue, we are currently in the process of changing our general fund balance from 20% to 40 or 50%. We will be doing at that county board this month, actually. And we've had a recommendation out of general government to go to 40% fund balance, which means that will kind of hamstring future county boards from spending all their money and going back to the old days of having to borrow to make payroll. And so we're trying to fix that currently right now. One of the other things that it is important to me is the education piece. A few years ago, I worked on a resolution asking for, it was WITC at the time, our technical college system, now it's Northwoods, was to put a little pressure, and that's one of the jobs as a supervisors, is how do you leverage your pressure and what you can do. And here's a good example where we used the pressure of the county and our tax base to leverage the state and the governing bodies of WITC to put a campus here in Polk County for higher education. And we got to continue that. They're here now. They have a campus in one of our government buildings. And I think we need to keep the pressure on them to just keep growing that program. One of your next questions is what qualifications do you have to effectively address these issues? I think my qualifications go back to, who I am, that dad, that grandparent now, the experience of running a small business, having employees, having payroll, working with customers, understanding different issues, problem solving, having to just, sometimes there are problems you don't want to deal with. Sometimes you had no idea you're going to have to deal with. And as a carpenter, I know those issues. You get a call in the middle of the night, the roof's leaking, you better go figure out how to solve the roof leaking. And sometimes government has a lot of roofs leaking and someone's got to get up and fix the roof. And sometimes that's very challenging. So I think my experience has given me an ability to be able to have a voice on the county board. When the roof is leaking, I'm definitely one to say, let's fix the roof. I've been on the county board for 3 terms. 2 terms were just as supervisor, which is a very good learning experience. Last term, I was elected to be county board chair, and that's a whole nother level of responsibility and a commitment and an understanding in the background of really the issues that face a government body to deal with day-to-day issues. And we have our share of those. So it's been a privilege to do it. I have announced that I would not be seeking the chairmanship term again, just because of the commitment. But hopefully I'll be there supporting another chair. I think everyone should have that experience. I don't believe in the good old boy thing where someone gets to stay there for a long time. So I'm going to look very forward to helping find a new chair next term. My contact information to get a hold of me is through an email at the county. You can look up my county email. My cell phone number, as far as a contact, has always been available to the public, and it's 715-557-0169. And I think I've accomplished everything the League of Women Voters have asked me to do today. And again, want to thank the League of Women Voters for actually doing this. I think it's a great service, and good luck to Polk County in the future. Thank you.